Episode 97.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the next level? Then hold on, because Ron and Ali are going to take you into the fast lane with the latest tips and insights from some of the biggest and most successful sellers here on the So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey, everyone. We have with us today Gina Muff. Gina, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Ron.
Great to have you with us, Gina.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Cool.
Yep. And Gina is an avid listener of eBay Radio and claims that it helped her develop and grow her eBay business, Classy Souls. Gina lives in a rural area with the closest Walmart 2 hours away. Her location presents challenges to selling online, but hasn't prevented her from becoming a top-rated eBay seller and power seller. Gina developed an interest in classic, quality shoes at a very young age while shopping with her mother.
Well, isn't that a common thing for a woman? You know, I get a sort of a bit of fascination with shoes. My house has about 100 shoes in it.
That's a good number to start with.
Should I start an eBay store then?
Well, it's better than having 101 because then you're looking for one.
Exactly. So, Gina, you live way out, what do you call it, in the boons or something? Did I say that right?
The boonies or the boondocks, yes.
Wow. So, talk about it. Do you have to get a boat to Walmart?
Oh, well, I'm on land. I'm not really
you're
on the
land.
So, I live in the northeast corner of New Mexico, very close to Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. But if I want to go thrifting, the closest real thrifting is 3, 4, and 5 hours away.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool. So tell me, how did you get involved in eBay? What started this for you?
Well, it really wasn't intentional.
They never are they, Ollie?
They never are, no.
Nobody, just so you know, Gina, nobody has ever come on our show and said, hey, you know what? We came up with a business plan. We took $2,000 and started selling on eBay. Everybody tells us they started selling from around the house. And that's such a cool theme, right?
Yep.
Well, it is. And then, people had stuff that they didn't really want and, knew that I could probably sell it. And they just gave it to me. It wasn't on consignment. And so I did that a little bit, but it still really wasn't in my mind that it was going to be any kind of a business. But then I went to a closer thrift store that's about an hour and a half away, and it's a really tiny one. And there were these pair of Clark's shoes. But the interesting thing about them is that they were a rare pair. They were like a European pair. So when I called Clark's, they didn't know where they originated from. Mm-hmm. And I sold them, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and they sold for like $50. And I thought, you're kidding. Because I really didn't know anything about thrifting before then. I never really had done that. And so to have these used pair of shoes sell for $50, it's like kind of, wow.
Results.
I hear the cha-ching going on right now, man. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so it interested me, and it still didn't change the fact that I'm not close to anything. But if I saw a little something, I'd pick it up and sell it, and it just kind of developed from there. But shoes, my store name is Classy Souls, SOLES. And so really that was my focus. And that's what I started out with primarily were shoes.
It's amazing, and the thing I'm loving about this story is that you have one massive challenge here. Your challenge is there's nothing around you that much. So you actually have to travel far distances to buy this stuff. So do you plan like a weekend? You travel out, you go pick everything up? I mean, you can't just pop down every time something sells is what I'm trying to say.
No. So what I had been doing is there is an interest in the thrill of the hunt. There is something about that. So there are some areas, if I went someplace, it was either an overnight or a long, long day. And so I'd pick up stuff. But then last year I got connected with somebody who I bought some racks of clothes from. And I am still listing those. So until those get listed, I am not doing any more sourcing.
Wow.
Well, cool, man. It's a one-stop shop for you there. You got the massive load there and getting them on eBay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're like a one-person team, are you? Do you do all of this on your own?
Yes, I do.
You know, one of the things that Ali and I love to do is bring people like yourself on that remove excuses for people who aren't doing this that want to, right? So, I mean, you know, the person that's sitting that's, probably a mile and a half from a Walmart sitting there going, man, I can't do this because there's nowhere around me for to shop for. And thrift stores are everywhere around me right now and all that good stuff. So, you know, people like you that come on our show, you eliminate the excuses for the people that want to do it or think they want to do it, but they haven't done it yet. So if you're out there and you're brand new or thinking about starting this, listen to Gina, man. Seriously, she's out in the middle of nowhere, drives 2 hours to find any kind of neon lights that have a sign that says maybe Walmart. You know, and she still is able to do this. So kudos to you, Gina, and anyone out there needs to get out there and get it going.
So, you know, Ron, actually, it's even a little trickier than that because my closest town, which is about an hour away on dirt roads, is there are 235 people. That's the population of that town. And
wow, the gossip must be thrive. I mean, you must be able to do something and they know exactly what you're doing, yeah?
No, because I'm an hour away from them and nobody knows.
They still know, Gina. They still know.
So
that's 470 shoes if every one of them have one pair of shoes.
So the interesting thing about that is in that town, fortunately, there's a post office, and but we only get mail 3 days a week, and it's delivered. But I'm a top-rated seller and a power seller, and you have to have a 24-hour turnaround time, one business day turnaround time, and so that can get kind of tricky.
So what do you do? Man, I mean, how do you cover all of that then if it only leaves 3 times a week?
Well, I always, Monday's easy because whatever sells on the weekend always goes out on a Monday, and then when there's a holiday, things then will go out on a Tuesday. It'll always go out on the next day, and I sometimes I'll go to town, in between that. But, you have 24 hours to get that label printed. I know it's supposed to be at the post office. It's supposed to be scanned or something by then. See, a lot of my items go priority mail, so they're getting them faster than they expect. I mean, something of mine can get there in 2 to 3 days, and they always are saying fast shipping. Got it so quick, and that really was
man. What they don't know, what they don't know is you have to ride a horse, a donkey, a canoe, and an airplane to get it to the post office. That's amazing, Gina. That's a really cool story, man. So I'm envisioning this. You live like in the middle of nowhere. Do you have a bunch of acres that you live on, or something, or some kind of a ranch or something?
It's a ranch. It's a large property. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So when you buy flour, you buy it by the 50-pound bags, right?
Well, when you go get groceries, you have to plan because you're not going back in there the next day.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
So that's really cool. Go ahead, Ali. This shipping thing. So you brought up a good point. So you actually have to travel a far distance to ship it. Aren't you losing money? Or don't you how do you work out your shipping? Because it must cost you petrol or what do you call it, gas or something to get over there.
They deliver and they pick up. 3 days a week they'll deliver and pick up. For free? Yeah.
Oh, wow. You've got it sussed, haven't you?
Well, I got to tell you, my mail carrier is incredible. She was on another dirt road about 12 or 15 miles away, and I had to get something in the mail. And she drove back to meet me. She met me kind of midway, and you couldn't get somebody in the city to do that for you.
What, do you have her cell phone number? How did she know? How did she
send a pigeon? You sent a pigeon out, didn't you? I need shipping.
Yeah. I mean, she'll text me all the time. I'm early. I'm going to be late, and that way my packages, I get them out in time, or I have a little extra time and I'll know.
That's above and beyond on your end and hers. That's incredible. That's really cool, man. I tell you what, for you to be able to do this and love what you're doing is an incredible feat because you have a lot of obstacles that a lot of people don't have. It's really cool to hear you say this. Your story is really interesting.
Love it.
Well, there you go.
Word on the street, because I like to know all the gossip prior to a show. It makes things a lot easier. You know something about active content?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. So I heard you did a tutorial or something. You saw a problem with active content and you did a tutorial or something?
Last year, eBay came out with mobile-friendly listings. They wanted everybody's listings to be mobile-friendly. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't going to go, they weren't going to implement that right away, but it's going to go in, it is being implemented all the time. And a lot of people have what they call horizontal scrolling. They might have centered text or images or videos or audio or something. Was working with a guy yesterday and his audio image was too wide. And so it would require a mobile user to have to horizontally scroll when most aren't going to do that. Anyway, so back when this was all coming out and I saw there is a mobile friendly test page for eBay, but the code in there, it doesn't work for everybody. It needs to be stripped to, I won't get into that. But anyway, it looked like people were needing help. And so I put together a little tutorial on YouTube, and it's called Optimize eBay Listings, Add Viewport Code, Increase Mobile Sales.
Wow. Okay.
And so I posted it to a bunch of Facebook groups I was in. And of course, it's on YouTube. And I also wrote an eBay guide, which has it in it. And so a lot of sellers were able to get their listings mobile friendly when that, wasn't going to happen because it wasn't working on the eBay page. I don't know why they didn't change it or fix it, but it's a very easy. It's about 5 minutes and it's a real easy tutorial.
Yeah, it's fair kudos to eBay, really, because we're coming into this day and age where people are buying everything online now. They're just buying it on their phones. They're sitting in a coffee shop and buying. So to have stuff like this, and I know it's a headache. I deal with clients who are having to change everything over, and they got thousands and thousands of listings. It becomes a headache. Yep. But once everything's set up and once everything's into place, it's going to be so much easier. You'll be able to streamline your buying. I mean, it is a good thing.
Yes, and the way that it goes on the video, you can bulk edit, and it doesn't take care of 10,000 listings in 2 minutes, but you can do 500 at a time and get it done fairly quickly if you just do it in chunks and just do it. You just got to do it.
Yeah. And one of the neat things about people like you, Gina, in this eBay community is that, you don't owe anybody that tutorial. You didn't know anybody that. You did your own thing and you took it upon yourself to help other eBay sellers out there. And we see that all the time where people are actually helping other eBay sellers. And the competition is it's zero. I mean, basically, it's like I've said before, if we're all in the same room and we're selling gold watches, then I don't really care to help you too much because now you're my competition. But the beautiful thing is with eBay, unless you're selling the exact same thing I'm selling, we're not competitive. And so for people like you to help other people with that tutorial, I'm sure you had a lot of people just really loving the fact that you took the time to do that for them. Yeah,
it did take a lot of time. I mean, it took days, hours and days, but it was so satisfying, when they'd get it and, they'd start out and it's like, I can't do this and it's not working. And then all of a sudden it was so easy and, thank you. And so it was just really great. So now the next thing about active content is continuing on with the centered text, which needs to be left aligned, and with images and whatever else is in there that's active content. What's one of the things that's really important to some people, a lot of people who do collectibles, they might have a music box or even a tool. Somebody might have a tool or an audio system or something, and you want to show that it works, that it turns on, that it operates, that it moves, what it sounds like. So all these videos that are they've been using, they're not going to be able to use those anymore. So what I did for that is I did another little tutorial recently, and it's called Add Mobile Friendly Videos to Your eBay Listings. And the whole deal about that is it's the dimension of the player. If they can get the dimension of the player 300 pixels wide maximum, probably it's going to pass the mobile friendly test. So I put examples in there, and it's short too, and it's just It's just helps people who want to use that. It's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't need to put a video in their listing, but when you've got something that moves or makes a sound or has music, a buyer, they're ready, but does it really work? And what does it really sound like? And it's important.
It definitely is, and that's the great thing of media queries in themselves. So I don't want to get into the coding too much, but, that allows it to be full width on one thing and then shrink down to the mobile phone size. So love it. I mean, this is important stuff. This is probably at the moment the biggest change that eBay are actually doing at the moment. Yeah. It's going to, put it this way, it's going to affect most people. So kudos to you for, look at that word. I'm using Ron's word now. Kudos. No, great stuff for helping out with that. I mean, that's really going to, like Ron said, help some people.
Ron and Ali will be right back after this short break.
Do you want to set yourself apart from other eBay sellers? Want to look like one of the big brands? How would you like to feel confident that you could do it yourself but know that the support is there if you get stuck? Now you can create your branded eBay store and have your store doing more. With Auction Pro Template's premium do-it-yourself eBay template. This template is loaded with tools and features you won't find in any other system. Go to yourstoredoingmore.com now to see what's included. That's yourstoredoingmore.com. What's more exciting than starting your own eBay empire with one of Auction Pro Template's custom eBay store and listing template packages? How about saving yourself $200 when you do it? That's right. Right now, you can take advantage of starting your own totally custom eBay store for the insanely low price of $697 when you use promo code SAVE200 during checkout at AuctionProTemplates.com. You still get all of the amazing features and benefits as before, like a custom designed eBay store and matching custom eBay listing design, video tutorials, software, custom branding, 1-year free hosting, and so much more. But now you get to save yourself $200 doing it. So celebrate the start of something awesome with $200 in savings when you order your very own custom eBay store and listing template package. Go to AuctionProTemplates.com and check out all of the features and benefits of having a totally custom eBay store and use promo code SAVE200 today.
Be sure to check out So You Want to Sell on eBay.com for the latest podcasts and all the information you need to get selling fast.
So let's talk about your store. I'm looking at it. You've got some great stuff. I was thinking of buying a pair of shoes myself. Do you do like men's triple 10? Probably don't call them.
I don't think I have any of those in there right now. I have some wides in there, but...
So, and all this sort of stuff, this is all people you go into the thrifting stores as well, but do people turn up on your doorstep and say, hey, we got something for you? It's this 1920s cowboy boots.
Not really. Like I said, I did things for a few people way back when, but most of this stuff was thrifted or in the clothing. A lot of the clothing I'm doing now is from those mega purchases that I made last year.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody's just showing up on her doorstep, Ali.
Well, the postwoman is. She's coming. She's going out of her way. Maybe they send in by helicopter. I don't know. I'm trying to keep the momentum going here.
No, and I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do consignment. If I did something for somebody, they'd either have to give it to me or I'd buy it outright from them because I don't want that relationship. I'm too far out. I don't want somebody that feels a need to control my business. If they have a price and they want a certain price and it's fair to me, I'll just buy it outright. But I don't want to I'm too far out. I can't really connect with people easily. And, depending on what people have, for instance, I was doing larger items, but, you got to have boxes. So before I list anything, I have got to have all the packing and shipping supplies because I can't just go down the street and get it if it's sold tomorrow. I have to have it boxed and ready to go.
Yeah, that's amazing because you know what? That's a really big, I know for myself, there's been a time or two where I'm like, I started selling something and I'm like, it's sold. and then I'm scrambling for a box. But I go right down the street and I get a box. I can't even imagine the obstacles that you come over that I haven't even thought about because of, the accessibility I have it to everything, basically.
Yeah, but the great thing is when I list it, I'm done. I don't have to go search for a box. I don't have to pack it. It's ready to go. I know what much it weighs. I know how big it is. And I know what it's going to cost me to ship it. So I'm not scrambling at the end. That is one thing I do not. I pull my stuff that I'm going to ship, usually the night before, because I don't want to scramble in the morning to do that.
Well, and it sounds to me that's exactly why you're successful, Gina, because you take what I just mentioned as a negative and you turned it into a positive, right? Exactly. You said, "Hey, you know what? I don't have a box for it, but if I will get a box for it and it'll be shipped, and then I'm done." Right? So that's really cool how your thinking process is amazing. And then also, we do have people that do consignment. So one of the beautiful things that we talk about, on our show about eBay is, not everybody does it the same way. You don't like consignments, and that's absolutely fair. We have other people that have been on our show that love consignments, and they build a business doing consignments, right? So The neat thing about it is there's no hard code written rules and guidelines that you have to do, and everybody does it different. We're coming up on 100 episodes and 100 different styles. I mean, it's just amazing how that works.
That's exactly it. I mean, eBay has made it so easy for you that depending on what you want to do, you can do. I think it's fantastic. And Ron's right. We've never had two people that do exactly the same sort of way. Some do free shipping, some don't. Some ship quick, some don't. I mean, you're great here, Gina. It's really good to have you on here because it's just showing that here's another challenge. I mean, so isn't there a point where you thought, God, I've had enough of this. This is driving me mental. Do you ever felt like a point of quitting or?
Well, no, I like what I do. I mean, you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, I think you should do something else. That's, really it. Some people have a need and maybe they turn to eBay. But if you don't enjoy it, it's like anything. If you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
That's a very true statement.
I've been there many times myself. And I think Ali might have too, but that's exactly right. But it's just really awesome to hear you talk about. I'm envisioning you being on almost an island out there, and yet every obstacle we've thrown at you as a possibility, you just act like it's everyday work and it's no big deal because you love it. And that's just great, Gina.
Okay, so here's something that somebody would think is a disadvantage. A lot of eBay sellers, and you hear about it, we work alone. There's nobody else. You're by yourself. And so they get on Facebook and they, start making friends and they make connections and people start helping each other. Well, back, 4 or 5 years ago, there was none of that. But what there was for me, well, at least I didn't know about it. What there was for me was eBay Radio. And eBay Radio was the single source that kept me in touch with the eBay community, not the community so much, but really what was happening within eBay, because I didn't know I don't even remember how I found out about it, but I just started listening. I went back and listened to every single episode. Now, if somebody did that now, there'd be a lot of outdated information, but still the emphasis is on improving your business, trying to get you top rated and all those things. And so that I called in almost every week because I had a question. I had nobody to ask. I didn't know anybody who was doing eBay. And so really, it was very, very helpful to me to be able to get immediate answers. It didn't cost me a dime. I thought, what? Yeah. I used to be in real estate, and it's like, what business could you have? And you can call up, get free information, and you don't have to pay for it. I mean, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You're getting...
It's unheard of in the business world.
Exactly. I mean, sharing your tips and tricks, and especially from someone like Griff, who is a huge authority in eBay. So that's awesome that you're getting that advice, and it's absolutely free. You get a free coach.
Yeah, it was great. And so, from there, now there are lots of Facebook groups and there are meetups. Now, my closest meetup group is in Colorado Springs. So I don't get up there often because it's 4 hours away, and then Albuquerque's 5 hours away. And that one I hardly ever get to, but, I try and get up there, but the Facebook groups are helpful because there are so many knowledgeable, informed, helpful people. They have so much expertise, so many years. If I'll tell you, there's one thing, if your listeners are new, that is something they've got to get into, or some Facebook groups with some really great people in them. And you're just going to have to pick and choose, because if you're new, you probably wouldn't know, where to go. But they all kind of have all the groups kind of have a personality, but the ones I want to be in are helpful, positive, people who want to, they want to make this connection. They want to have fellow sellers who have like mind. They're selling, they're trying to make it a success. Yep. And it's not the whiny, complaining people that are going to help you. And that's what I would stay away from. But there are just several incredible groups out there with just a lot of knowledgeable, helpful people.
Absolutely. And again, that's what's so awesome about selling on eBay. I mean, the competition isn't there, right? So I if I'm a successful eBay seller, I don't mind sharing with the Facebook communities or other people that are selling on eBay, because I don't mind helping them. I want everybody to succeed. And that's really the mentality of most eBay sellers.
That's the mentality of this podcast show. I mean, that's why we do this podcast. Before, you got eBay radio. Now you've got So You Want to Sell on eBay. We do this podcast. We bring people like you on, Gina, that share this wealth of knowledge. And it's beautiful. So, yeah. So You Want to Sell on eBay.com. Sponsored by.
That's right.
So you were talking about not maybe wanting to share. I just read something this morning about somebody who had thought, well, they didn't really want to share what they were doing because of the competition. They're giving all their secrets away. They're increasing their competition. Why do this? Well, then they were convinced to go ahead and do this, and they're glad they did. And it's the same with my contribution on the tutorials. Yes, it took an incredible amount of time for all the people who were contacting me, but I feel like you get it all back and more.
Definitely.
Not just from the satisfaction, but you just draw it to you when you can give yourself to other people.
Yeah. And one of the things about it is, a lot of people think that, and I'll exaggerate to get my point across. A lot of people think that there's 100 people selling on eBay. The reality is they don't really understand the amount of people that are selling on eBay. If you take and you look up at the starry sky at night, you're one of those stars, but there are millions of other stars, hundreds of millions of stars out there. So if you're selling, T-shirts, for example, or shoes in your case, you're not the only one selling shoes on your, on eBay, but you'll do a pretty decent job if you list it correctly and have good product. So, I think that's why the people that get it, they really don't mind sharing their information and knowledge.
Well, that was one thing about eBay Radio, is that they constantly harp on best practices, what to do and what not to do. And I'm not going to fight it. I just immediately do it. I'm just going to do it. If I have to change something and they say, this is what's happening or this doesn't work, I will change it. They suggest left aligned, same font, no colors, no flashy things in the item description, just the facts. And short and simple. And some people write paragraphs and they put in their return policies and their shipping policies. And, that stuff really is all addressed in other aspects of the listing. And they're just wasting space. No buyer's going to read it. And so I'm telling you, every once in a while, I'm just amazed that my stuff sells. I think, man, there's millions of shoe sellers out there. How do they find my items? It's just incredible. But you do have to pay attention, have good photographs, and, do the suggested best practices. If you're not selling and your stuff isn't selling, what do you have to lose? Do it the way they suggest you to do it.
Yeah, the only issue with that I find is that changes so much. I mean, it's like, 1 minute it's good to do it this way, the next minute. And then another thing with these Facebook groups is, again, you've got so many different opinions on how stuff should be done. I find that stuff confusing sometimes. You know, it's like trying to get fit. One says eat a banana, the other says don't. I mean, it can be overwhelming with information. I suppose what we've learned over the time of doing this show, it's a bit like trial and error, isn't it? It's like you try something, it sort of works for you, and then you keep moving and bettering. Like you, for example, you've got a problem where you have to travel really far distances, but you've sort of worked out how to do that suits you. You couldn't really get that from any Facebook group, is what I'm trying to say, really, yeah?
Yeah, well, and the Facebook groups for me aren't to get policy information.
Yep.
The Facebook groups, you know, everybody, it's what you said earlier, Ron. A lot of people have a lot of different ways to do it, and that's what makes eBay so interesting, because everybody has a different way. And that's not really what I'm at the Facebook groups for. They're helpful. Let's say I have an item and I don't know how to describe something. Well, I did. I had some kind of a cross stitch thing. I know nothing about needlepoint anything. I mean, I don't. I'm not a crafter.
Cool.
So I found this thing for $1, and it was kind of pretty. It had lavenders and white and a little gate and harbor, and I didn't know anything about it. And so what happened is I put it on one of the Facebook groups, and immediately somebody said, "Oh, well, that's cross stitch, and that's that." And then I realized there was like a style number, and boom, it was on its way to Singapore. You know, it's like
cool.
Yeah,
really
it's like
cool.
from $1 to, I think it sold for like $85 or something. And I thought,
Wow.
that worked out okay. But I wouldn't have been able to with offering up that information. And that's the kind of information I'm talking about, support and all that stuff. But when it comes to policy, it's eBay, whatever eBay's saying and what I'm hearing on eBay radio. I know people have their own opinions about that, but it hasn't turned me wrong. And customer service really has been outstanding for me. I mean, they've turned things around that I thought I was dead in the water.
Yeah.
I love that story. You know, that's what I love about eBay. You buy something for $1 and then you sell it for $85. I mean, isn't that just great? That's so addictive, I imagine.
Into another country.
Yeah.
It went across the sea.
Love it. Well, sadly, we run out of time here, Gina, man. But I tell you what, you know, having you on our show is just, you're another one of these amazing sellers where you've got so many obstacles. I mean, so many obstacles. You probably even got like internet obstacles as well, you know, and you're doing an online business. So to be able to do what you're doing, to be able for you to, you know, sort out all these problems, fix them, and still never, ever get negative feedback. It is an amazing, amazing story. So I hope a lot of people get something from this. And thanks very much for joining us, Gina.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on your program.
We really enjoyed it. So we're going to post all our interviews on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/show notes. Gina, but before you go here, how can people find you? What's the best way that they can contact you?
Classy Souls, ClasssySoles.com. And that's also on YouTube.
Cool. And that's your eBay store as well. Will that go straight to your eBay store, does it?
It directs to my eBay store, and then Classy Souls on YouTube.
Brilliant. And that's where they can find that tutorial, yeah?
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, that's awesome. We'll also put all of those on the show notes page, so make sure you check it out. From everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
That's all for this episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. Be sure to check out our next episode or any past episodes by going online to soyouwannasellonebay.com. Also, be sure to follow us on your favorite social media sites, facebook.com/So You Want to Sell on eBay, and Twitter at Your eBay Podcast. Thanks for listening. And until next time, happy selling.
Have an idea for a topic or know someone who would like to be on the show? Let us know. Just go to www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/interview. We look forward to hearing from you. This podcast was produced in part by Pro VoiceWorks.